2018 season comes to a close in LA. If you're with us, you're an unhappy Cowboys fan. It's okay. We're here to talk about it. Lindsay Draper, Nate Newton, Brian Broaddus, 30-22-year final. There were a lot of surprises tonight, maybe the biggest one of all being the way that the defense was not able to handle not Todd Gurley, but C.J. Anderson. Just maybe expected a little bit more of a fight from them tonight.
Yeah, they didn't. They weren't ready to play in the running game tonight.
Yeah.
That was the problem. You know, all year long, this defense had done a great job of playing against the run, and give the Rams a lot of credit. They came into this game. We all thought about, hey, have to be able to stop Todd Gurley in this game. And early on, though, there were some times where it looked like they were able to do that. Then C.J. Anderson got things going, and really, that's what got this Los Angeles Rams offensive line some confidence. They went in there and they physically manhandled the Dallas Cowboys front. It was very similar to what we saw in the game against the Indianapolis Colts. Linebackers were fighting blocks all day. The defensive line were getting washed out of plays, though. The safeties, corners, nobody could really handle anything. Jared Goff did not beat you throwing the ball in this game. Their ability to run the football and control the line. They turned the tables on you. You were the team that was supposed to be able to run the ball. They played better run defense, and you did, and that was the difference in the game.
When you look at this game, I told Broaddus and I told Ms. Lindsay, we did a podcast earlier in the week, and I told him, I say, one thing that scares me about this right here, they have an extra week of tape on us that we don't have. They have an extra week of rest. We was worried about Jared, like you said, Jared Goff and what he was going to do, and it turned out to be a very dominating run game led by C.J. Anderson, along with the great running back in Todd Gurley. Yeah.
Now, when you see the defense, the Cowboys defense all season long, you know, they've had the Hot Boys and then Jalen and Leighton together. Sean Lee finally healthy at the end of the season. Where was the hype? Does that just come from getting hit in the mouth over and over and over from a guy like C.J. Anderson? I didn't see any hype tonight from them.
As when I look at this game, I see an offensive line that was ready, an offensive line that had played well. I'm talking about the Rams. C.J., once again, we talked about this earlier in the week. This offensive line is a very good offensive line, an underrated offensive line. They played together all 16 games, and they came out and dominated. They kind of took a chip on their shoulder saying, hey, man, we see everybody talking about the Dallas offensive line. Yeah. Hey, we're the offensive line to look at.
The team that was poor against run defense all week long, we talked about, again, these are things you talk about as you get ready to the game, was that the Rams were giving up 5 yards a carry running the football. You know, and the Cowboys were never able to establish any kind of running game. This is where the Rams were different tonight is. They didn't have to throw the football, but when they did throw the football, where was the Cowboys defense, the pass defense? Where was the pass rush? We talked about some things about this offense have been able to, or excuse me, this defense to be able to create some opportunity. They never got close to Goff tonight. That was a big problem for them. No sacks in this game, created no turnovers. In the secondary, though, there were guys that were open, but the running game, the front seven, other than the Colts game, we haven't seen the Cowboys front get dominated like this. You know, and usually when this team has problems and loses games, it's been because the defense hasn't played well. I don't think they played very well tonight, but they played against a team, again, that took their own game plan and used it against them.
All right, this is the first word presented by Dr. Pepper. We're going to let you hear from head coach Jason Garrett or whoever we get first out there at the Coliseum, but I'm going to go big picture on you guys really quick. End of his third season, Dak Prescott showed a lot of heart at the end of the night, rushing one in, put his body on the line. A lot of people out there on Twitter, it's divided on Dak Prescott. It is divided on Dak Prescott. What are you guys seeing? Are you happy with where he went this season?
I'm happy where he recovered. I think he started out pretty slow with his receivers by committee. They overcame that. They went out and got Amari Cooper. He showed to do what he can do, but I agree with Broaddus. The deal wasn't about the Dallas Cowboys tonight. The deal was about the offensive line of the Los Angeles Rams, and it was about their running game. They controlled it. They got over 260 rushing yards. This has nothing to do with Dak tonight, and everything to do with the.
Will you say that again?
It has nothing to do with Dak.
I'm sorry. Okay, I just want to see if anybody out there.
If you look at Dak Prescott, if you just look at the numbers, Dak Prescott played well enough to win this game tonight. Just if you look at the numbers. But Dak Prescott also missed some passes There were some guys that ran some crossing routes that he missed. You know, getting the ball on the outside, he missed.
Has it been that way all year?
No. Trust me. I was talking about guts and glory and all that all week long. That was me. I'm just saying though, if you look at overall, Nate's right. The Rams offense is what took this game from you, though. Dak Prescott, if you looked at his numbers, and they would have had a running game where Ezekiel Elliott had numbers like Todd Gurley or Anderson, then we'd have probably said, all right, good balance there. Dak Prescott, running game. They had no running game tonight. It came all on Dak Prescott. Again, did he make all the throws? No. Did he make some great throws? He absolutely did. That's the kind of what you're going to get with him.
Understand this right here. Last week, I ranted and raved. Let me rant and rave about something. 36 minutes and 13 seconds that the Rams' offensive line had the ball. I understand. Make some throws, make some great throws, whatever you ask for. This was not about Dak, Zeke, and our offensive line.
What was her question? What was her question?
Was it about Dak?
It was about Dak.
And it wasn't about Dak. It was about the Rams.
She asked about what you think about Dak.
What I think about Dak is
you said he recovered.
He recovered. He did what he had to do.
There's no question this is about the Rams offense.
Yeah.
No question about that. The question was, though, what about Dak? Did Dak play well enough for them to win this football game?
Yes, he played well enough for them to win the football game.
Yeah.
All right, let's go out to the Coliseum. We have Nick Eatman and Rob Phillips with the first reactions from the field, guys.
Thanks, Lindsay. Nick, obviously a difficult way for the Cowboys to end the season. You said it to me in the press box. They've lost 2 out of 9 games in a familiar theme, right?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, both those games, Indianapolis and then this one, they just couldn't stop the run. I mean, absolutely. The line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, they lost, but obviously it was really more apparent and with the way the Rams just anything they wanted to. It's kind of fitting there at the end that, you know, Anderson and Gurley and Jared Goff, who probably runs at like a 6-second 40, gets the first down on 3rd and 7, just wins the game for him.
Pretty ironic there, right? And then, you know, Rod Marinelli said it during the week, probably 6 times in his press conference, stop the run, stop the run. It's something they've been doing all season long, but C.J. Anderson may be an underrated guy when Gurley was out the last couple of weeks.
I don't know if he's a free agent or whatever next year, but NFC East teams should get him because he kills the Cowboys. C.J. Anderson just lights them up. Gurley both, they just went back and forth, and, you know, the Cowboys just never had an answer for it. It's a tough way to lose it. It's a great atmosphere here, just a tough way to lose this game and lose this season because they played so well, but I thought they were the better team. They weren't at all. The Rams were definitely a better team tonight, and they showed it.
Quickly, still, I mean, something to build off of with a young team, you think? I know it's hard to look at it like that right now.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think it's a young team that you know, they don't have any guys that's starting over 30 years old. I mean, so, but I think that youth kind of caught up to them a little bit tonight. In your opinion, Rob, what do you think they can do to kind of, what's your number one thing to say, we got to fix this next year?
Well, I mean, if you look at tonight, it's both lines of scrimmage, but, you know, this defensive front for the Cowboys has been pretty good all season long. So, you know, it just wasn't their night tonight up front.
Yeah,
both lines of scrimmage.
A tough one. Tough way to end the season. I still think a good season, but a tough one to, you know, because you really had an idea. I think maybe this is going to be the year to get there, to get to that championship. Not happening.
It's going to be a long flight home. A lot of Cowboys fans here going on unhappy. Back to the crew.
All right, thanks, guys. We're going to go straight inside now to the press conference room or wherever he is. Let's see. Head coach Jason Garrett for you guys.
How we doing, guys? We just did not do a good enough job defending the run, obviously. They're a physical football team. I think there's a little bit of a misperception about how the Rams play offensive football. It starts with the run, and they do an outstanding job week in and week out, and we just didn't do a good enough job controlling the line of scrimmage, winning our gaps, and tackling. And unfortunately for us, they were able to run the ball consistently throughout the ball game. They controlled the pace and the tempo of the game really because of that. They were committed to stopping our run. They had a lot of people around the line of scrimmage, and that's what they were going to do. When we were in 3 wide receiver sets, they were staying in base defense, and they just wanted to stop the run. And that gave us some opportunities in the passing game that we were able to take advantage of. Obviously, we're at our best, and we're balanced, and we're throwing it and running it. But they were committed to stopping the run, and we had to run them out of that, and at times they did a good job of that.
Jason,
Jason, you didn't run back on a run play until like 5 minutes ago in the fourth quarter. Would you have wanted to run to Houston a little bit in that running game earlier?
Yeah, again, we've talked about this a lot during the year. A number of those plays get called, and sometimes they become handoffs in the game. It's been a big part of what we do, and we'll continue to use that as we go forward. Not every game is he going to get a ton of carries based on what the defense is playing.
Fourth and one play to Zeke that they stopped. You had success the first two times. What were you trying to get to there on that fourth and one?
Yeah, it's been a signature play for us. We've been very successful over the years, with that idea, double teams at the point of attack and giving Zeke a chance to make the yard. And he's done that time and time again throughout his career, and they did a good job stopping us on that one.
Jason, what's your message to the team? What are you saying after a loss?
Incredibly proud of our football team. You talk about mental toughness and physical toughness. They demonstrated that the whole year. A young football team that grew a lot over the course of 16 games and a couple games in the playoffs. I think we learned from our experiences. I think we grew. I think we got tougher. I think we became a more hardened football team. I think a lot of young guys grew up, and they grew up together. And those are really positive things that we can build on. The Rams were a better team than we were today. They were. And I don't question our effort, our toughness, our fight. Those guys put it all out there. It inspires me. The hair stands up on the back of my neck when I talk about them and think about them. Everything they put out there is something else. And I love the group of guys we have. They care about each other. They love each other. They love this game. They go about it the right way. All things that we can build on for the future. At times, Amar did a really good job. Obviously, on the first drive, he had the big touchdown for us and came back a few other times throughout the game. So he's a good football player. We like to get him involved. I thought Michael Gallup did a lot of good things in the ball game as well. So we're at our best when we spread the ball around. Each of those guys, they're a big part of what we did in the passing game.
What needs to happen to get past this point in the playoffs?
We just have to grow as a team in all ares. We have to get better on offense, better on defense, better in the kicking game. We have to continue to create competitive situations with our personnel on our roster so we can grow. And we have to learn from our experiences. A lot of different experiences this year that we'll grow from, we'll develop from. The early season inconsistency that we had, that we grew out of and played significantly better over the last half of the season. Having the playoff win last week is something we'll benefit from, and having the disappointment today is something we're going to benefit from. You have to remember these feelings when you stand in these locker rooms, when you have disappointment, and that has to continue to drive you, and we have the kind of guys who that will. It'll be fuel for us going forward.
Jason, did you see anything matchup-wise that suggested your defense is going to struggle against them as much as it did tonight?
Again, they're a good football team. They won 13 games. That doesn't happen by accident. They've done a very good job running the football all year long, and that was going to be a challenge for us. And, again, we just didn't do a good enough job in that area. It's been one of the strengths of our defense all year long, trying to make teams one-dimensional. That's an objective that we have, and we didn't do that tonight. And we'll look at the tape, and we'll learn from this experience and get better.
3rd and 7, they get picked off on the edge. Is that the last guy that you think is going to do that, or how you judge that situation, what you guys were able to not do?
Yeah, there's some different things that you have to be ready for. Obviously, they want to run the ball in that situation to work some clock or force us to use a timeout. So you're ready for the runs to the backs. You're ready for the nakeds with the quarterback. Maybe you're ready for a quick screen. They did a good job just capturing the edge. And he was able to make that yardage and obviously end the game at that point.
Jason, how formidable of a running game is it now that they've got C.J. Anderson and they're able to...
Yeah, CJ's a hell of a football player and has been in this league. He's done an excellent job wherever he's been. And you add him to a duo with Todd Gurley, that's a big-time tandem in the backfield that they have. But they do an excellent job with their scheme. They do an excellent job with their offensive linemen, blocking, and obviously the runners are damn good running the football. So hats off to them. They did a great job. They did a better job than we did tonight. And congratulate the Rams for the year they've had and going on to the next round.
What did they do to slow down your run? Slow down your running game? What did they do?
Yeah, we addressed that earlier. They were committed to stopping the run, and they were going to have a lot of guys around the line of scrimmage. And even when we were in 3 wide receiver sets, they were staying in base. So they were committed to stopping our running game, and we had to run. We had to be able to throw them out of that defense. And at times we did. The big plays we had in the passing game were a result of that. Amari on the touchdown early on got a good matchup against the safety. So that's part of how these games go. If they're committed to taking one thing away, you have to beat them in another area. At times they did a good job of that tonight.
Did you guys consider sticking with your base when they were out there at 11 personnel too? didn't play base very much tonight.
Based on
Didn't play base.
on defense. Again, there are a lot of different things that we did to attempt to slow them down. Whether it's personnel or scheme or movement up front, a lot of different things that we tried, but they did a good job. They did a good job up front, controlling the line of scrimmage and running the football. Yeah, Michael's done an excellent job. A young player who played a lot of snaps for us, and you said it, he grew over the course of the season. He had some challenging situations that he had to deal with off the field and really handled that well. And then certainly he grew, with the opportunities he had to play and built on the good stuff and learned from some of the challenging things on the field and just got better and better and better. And he was a big part of what we did tonight.
When you think about you guys start this deal in March, maybe some guys even before that, does the finality of it hit you now, or does it hit you when you get back home? When does it get you?
Well, you just put it all out there. And, fortunate to be one of 8 teams playing this weekend. And we feel good about where we came this year and the growth and development of a young football team. But we had no plan for any meeting tomorrow. We had a plan to get ready to go play in the NFC Championship game. And then you have to regroup when you come into the locker room when you lose and you move forward. Again, we'll go back and watch this tape. We'll learn from this experience. We'll remember this feeling. We'll be better for it. The mental toughness that we demonstrated, individually and collectively. Challenging times really throughout. Had to overcome a lot of different things. A lot of young players learning how to play at this level. And at every turn, they just handled things the right way. And they grew, and they got closer. And they care so much about each other, and they really love each other. And they love this game, and they handled it the right way.
You guys fell behind there, like 23-7, Jason. Did you feel like the team competed adequately enough? It was just a matter of execution by the other team.
Yeah, I thought we competed really hard and really well today. And, to come back from that adversity in this ball game, they did a good job running the football and driving the ball against us, and they got ahead. And, we couldn't answer it well enough offensively, but this team doesn't blink. The mental toughness and the effort and the will of this football team readily apparent tonight, as it has been all year long, and did a great job getting ourselves a hell of a chance at the end of the ball game to make it one score and come back and tie it. And unfortunately, it didn't work out for us.
I don't know if you addressed it earlier, but can you just talk about the way Dak battled and brought you guys back at the end?
Yeah, he's something else. He is something else. He's a great football player and a great leader. And, just the way he goes about any situation since I've met him has just been inspirational in so many ways. And scratch, claw, fight, battle, somehow, some way he's going to give our team a chance. And he certainly did. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do enough.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, guys.
Dak over in a little bit.
All right, guys, we've got about 5 minutes just to kind of wrap up the season here. And for all of you tuning in, thanks for being with us. Let's talk about it all together. Before we look forward and focus on the positives, which is the last thing I know anyone wants to do at this point, I think you really have to look at the state of maybe this offensive line, because we know what Ezekiel Elliott is capable of. He was held to under 50 yards tonight, Brian. You got the numbers in front of you?
Yeah, it was. He was held to 47 yards is what the numbers on 20
against
carries.
a great front.
Yeah, and it's funny though. Where I really worried about this front in this game was the pass protection, but it was really when the Rams got ahead, and you couldn't stop them. Then it became like, okay, you're not going to be able to run the ball. And when they tried to run the ball, they really didn't have much success. But the pass protection, and, we were all worried about Connor Williams in this game. If you want to talk about a positive, is that Aaron Donald didn't wreck your season. Ndamukong Suh did wreck your season. So, that's where you kind of need to focus on, if you want to, Jason Garrett was talking about some things that were positive, though. I think Connor Williams tonight, though, even though he had the one holding call, unfortunately, but the way he played, you have to say that was a pretty good effort on his part. But they didn't. They got behind. Their defense couldn't stop, and then it became a struggle for them to have to sustain drives. They were 1 of 10 on third downs today, guys. Which that was something coming into this game. They were actually been pretty good at.
As we talked all week, we do several shows together. We have fun. We bang around. But my two guys that I was truly locked in on to see how they would play was Ndamukong Suh.
Yeah.
All year he's been dormant. All year he's had a tackler here, a sack here. He wound up with 4 sacks, maybe 35 tackles, 2 for loss. And I'm like, this is not the Suh we knew in Detroit, part of when he was in Miami. But today he came to play. He was a run stopper. He on several of the goal line plays, you saw him in there. On the short yardage, you saw him making plays. And the other guy was Aqib Talib. How would he affect the game? Now, yes, late in the game, he got a penalty to help the Cowboys get a score. But early in the game, he did an admirable job of letting them bring the safety down into the box.
Yeah, well, if you just look at the numbers at the end, Suh with 4 tackles, Donald with 2. And you would say, wow, I mean, that wouldn't, but, you're right, Nate, about what they were able to do. The Cowboys just could not really get anything going. The 4th and 1 play took a lot of their momentum. They took a lot. I mean, not a lot of things were going right in the game. The defense, like we've talked about, but that gave them an opportunity. If they get that 4th down, you don't know. They go in and score. Maybe they tie this football game. Maybe your defense gets a stop or 2. Maybe it's wishful thinking on my part. But the fact that at least the Rams let them hang around in this game, as bad as things were defensively for the Cowboys.
All right, let's take a look at some final numbers. And Nate shouted it out from the rooftops earlier. That time of possession was huge.
If we could have kept their defense on the field for the amount of time that they kept our defense on the field, when we was looking at the game, Brian, earlier, they had what you told me, 34 plays.
Yeah, 34 to 11.
To 11.
Yeah, right.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Normally we would have that. It wasn't about the score early. It was the quantity of plays going into the second half, and it tired our guys down. And when you see how the interior defensive line getting moved around, it wasn't nice. And on the reverse side, Broadus told me all week, and I hadn't noticed this. He said, look at the undersized linebackers. We ought to be able to dominate them, get the movement on the front interior line, and dominate their linebackers. But this game turned out to be the other way around.
It did. I mean, their guys, their offensive line did you didn't need a guy like me to tell you this. You saw what their offensive line was able to do. It was very similar to the same type of problems that the Cowboys had against the Indianapolis Colts. And what happened in that game? They just couldn't get anything going offensively. Defense played bad, and it was such a great effort last week against Seattle, playing against the run, playing on 3rd down. But, you look at the Rams, end up with 30 first downs, end up with a time of possession, end up running basically 25 more plays than you during this game. So a lot of bad things happened defensively, though. Offensively, though, like I said, hey, I'm happy for Connor Williams that he just didn't, he had a game I think is pretty good for what we thought he might have. But, yeah, they just couldn't do enough, though. Converting those, they had to go for them on those 4th downs, got a couple of them, but didn't get the one that they needed the most.
All right, guys, this has been the First Word presented by Dr. Pepper. It's crazy. We are wrapping up the 2018 season, but that's where we are. You can catch us on DallasCowboys.com, of course, next week. But if you want more Cowboys coverage tonight, DallasCowboys.com rolls at 11 p.m. We'll be back.